Glad that you're still here with us on the Morning Express this Thursday, the 26th of March 2015. A great day it is. A little later on, we're going to have the State of the Nation coming up here with my colleague Sophia Wanuna. But for now, would like to talk to some guests that we have from Aiesec. Welcome. I'll start first of all with introducing you. And I have Nyambura Wagema.
Yes.
And that is the Congress Committee President for Afro XLDS. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes, you did.
Okay, 2015. I also have Alex Nyingi, who is a corporate citizenship and public affairs manager, Microsoft East Africa. Welcome. Okay. And last but not least, we have Ruth Ndungu. Ruthie or Ruth? Ruthie Ndungu, who is a business development manager, Aiesec in Kenya. Thank you for joining us this morning to talk to us about Aiesec. And maybe I'll start off with you, Nyambura.
Yes.
And you could tell us what is Aiesec and what is Aiesec all about?
Aiesec is, as you said, the world's largest youth-run organization, and our focus is youth development, youth leadership development. So what we do is we have the young leaders, young people in the world who want to become leaders, develop themselves through this organization that gives you practical experience and practical learning environment where you can do this leadership thing. You get to work, you get to work with corporates and different forums for you to develop yourself as a person and with a purpose to develop the world, basically, yes.
Okay, and Ruthie, maybe you could tell us, when you talk about development, what exactly do you develop? Do you develop just soft skills? Do you develop business skills for the youth?
Actually, we develop all that. I'd call it experiential leadership learning. So soft skills, I think one of the biggest problems corporates are going through today is that we do not have young people who have the extra oomph. So you have no soft skills, you have no business skills, you can't talk to a corporate, you can't make a proposal, you can't even dress up for an interview or something like that. So that's what Aiesec aims to do. So we go through stages just like you're in a corporate forum. So for example, when you started in KTN, I'm sure you didn't start at this prestigious job. You started maybe as an intern. That's what happens in Aiesec. You start as a team member, you become a team leader, then you head a local chapter in a university, and then possibly go to a national level. And through every stage that you go to, there are soft skills that you learn, business skills. It's just a whole wide range of learning for young people.
So it's more or less an all-round preparation for getting into the business world.
It is.
Okay, Alex, you are an alumni of Aiesec. Maybe from your experience, how did that help you?
I think that the biggest opportunity Aiesec gave me was that Aiesec actually encourages you to learn by doing and also learn by failing, because generally by the time you get in the corporate world, it's a little less forgiving for you to make mistakes. Sometimes it really will cost the company money, it could cost you the job.
Or cost you the job.
So it's that experience, and one of the things it does is that it puts you almost in a setting whereby as a young person, you make a decision on a day-to-day basis in terms of what you want the organization to be. So earlier on, you make the plans, you say this year we want to achieve ABCD, and what does it take for us to get there? Does it mean we need to go out to approach our corporate organizations to sponsor us? Do we need to identify somebody who can come to train us? Do we need to do ABCD? So essentially what it does is that it puts you in a situation whereby most other young people will not get an opportunity to do, and you do that well before you even ever think of either starting a business or being employed. So for me, it really helped me, because by the time I was getting out of Aiesec, I spent quite a bit of time in Aiesec, about 6 years.
Wow.
So through all my university and also another two years. So what it did for me is that by the time I was getting into the corporate world, I was already ahead of my peers, in the sense that one of the things I realized is I'd learned in terms of how do I work best. For example, if you have to throw to me 100 tasks that I need to do, which happens every other day, how do I go about it? So I figured out what works best for me. So simply take one task at a time. And then the other thing also it did for me is that in terms of the networks it built for me, because as Aiesec, usually we need to work with corporate organizations. You have to go out every other day to talk to them, and it really helped me build networks, so that by the time I was getting out of Aiesec and was looking for a job, already had an idea of ABCD people I could approach, and also knew what I wanted. So it was pretty clear in terms of what did I want for myself in life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nyambura, Ruthie here mentioned that it's an all-round kind of preparation for young people to get into what I'd call the business or the corporate world.
Yes.
And one of the challenges I know for many youth is, first of all, the minute you leave university, experience is needed. Attachment sometimes can be a problem. How does Aiesec go about, overcoming this challenge?
Now, the beauty with Aiesec is that, I'd say unlike many other youth leadership organizations where you sit through a lecture or you sit through classes, in Aiesec there is none of that. You actually go out there and do something. For example, the conference that we're planning required that you get out of your comfort zone, you approach a certain company, if it's the MD, if it's the marketing managers. It gives you very practical working experience as opposed to sitting in a class for leadership or business ethics and all those things. So it sets you apart from other people who have finished campus with you, because when they're looking for work experience, which many companies want work experience and you're fresh from college, what work experience do you have? So Aiesec gives you that experience that is required by that company, because you can show the results. We have key performance indicators. So what was your target? Did you meet it? By how much did you, supersede, or how much did you not meet it, and all those things. Mm-hmm. So it gives you very practical experiences where you go out on the job. There are very well-defined job descriptions and structures in place to make sure that every person is developed every step of the way, like she mentioned.
Okay. Now, I realize that Aiesec is an international organization.
Yes.
And I think it started off with somewhat an exchange program.
Yes.
Is that still on, and how does that work?
Yes, actually, to also continue to her question, we have exchange programs. So you asked, nowadays, young people they have difficulty getting jobs. So we have two types of exchange programs. So if you feel like you want to go out there, we're in 126 countries. If you want to go out there and help the world, we have a 6-week exchange program. So you can go, Aiesec in Seychelles and work on a community-based program. Then we have professional-based internships or professional-based jobs. So these are from different SMEs and corporates all over the world, and it's a minimum of 6 months. So this is a full-time paying job in another country. So imagine the experience you get when you come back home and the kind of exposure you've gotten. So by the time you go to a corporate office, you are standing out of everybody. You are just unique.
We'll come to how one can register and get involved in Aiesec if they want to. But Alex, you are currently working for Microsoft, and Microsoft, of course, is a huge company. Why would they find it important to support Aiesec as one of the sponsors?
As Microsoft, one of the things we have is that we do realize the value of supporting the youth in terms of the passion and the future perspective the young people bring in, because the young people now, let's say for example, look at the college students, are the ones who are going to define the trends we're going to have, and in terms of the market needs in the next 5 years and moving beyond. So it's really important for us as a company to engage with the young people. Over and above that, as a company, we do have a program, we call it Microsoft Youth Spark. So Microsoft Youth Spark is all about trying to help the young people realize their potential. So for the young people to be able to see what are the emerging trends, what is the influence technology is bringing, and how can they be able to make decisions for themselves 5 years down the line. Sometimes you might not know what 5 years has for you, but it's possible to actually analyze trends and be able to see what is there. So as a company, we started the Youth Spark program about 2 years ago, and we're targeting to impact 300 million youth across the world in education and in opportunities. And additionally, in Kenya, we do have an initiative we're calling Tuko Works. So it's a local slang one, essentially meaning in terms of trying to create opportunities or job opportunities. So for us as a company, over and above the business we do, the youth are a very important segment for us. So in terms of even our social activities, we focus on the youth. We're looking at how can we be able to advise young people, how can we be able to mentor young people, how can we be able to provide for them learning opportunities in terms of what the employers are looking for. And same thing, what role can we play as a company, a technology company, in terms of trying to bridge the challenges young people have in the entrepreneurship and also getting the jobs. So we partner a lot with organizations like Aiesec that are really working with the youth and other youth-serving NGOs to be able to, as a company, be a good corporate citizen and be able to give back to our society.
All right, Nyambura, one of the biggest challenges I'd say that we have world over, and more specifically in Africa, is leadership. And I see one of the core values for Aiesec is activating leadership.
Yes.
in terms of mentorship, I know mentorship is very important for us to have good leaders tomorrow. We need good leaders today. How is Aiesec going about that, given that we have that vacuum of leadership already?
Well, for starters, the experiences that Aiesecers are given through exchange and through their job descriptions get you to a position where you are either directly impacting the community or perhaps the company in which you work. So some of our other core values are demonstrating integrity, which means that as you're working, it's not only, I mean, as a leadership position, but there are certain things that we look into your character. We focus on developing the character of the person. So as much as we want you to impact people out there, we want you to impact yourself, or we want the organization to impact you. So what Aiesec does is it provides the opportunity, yes, but also it gets you in contact with people who are already well placed, for example, in the economy, in businesses, people who can mentor you. So we don't, in fact, when we look for partnerships, it's not just this company has this number on their bottom line, so they can give us money. No. What is the company value? What are their policies? How do they work? How can this organization benefit from them? Not just in terms of finances, but how can the members be mentored directly or indirectly by the people who work in that company? For example, if it's the managers, if it's, I mean, even the people who work as non-administrative staff, we like to develop a relationship, so to speak, with our partners. For example, with Mr. Alex, I'd say we have a very accommodating board for the conference, for Aiesec in general. So I can say that personally, by working through Aiesec, I have learned so much from Mr. Alex Nyingi. I have learned so much from the likes of Mr. Ranja and other people who are in our board, and it gives you brush shoulders with the who's, yes, you brush shoulders with people who can teach you real life lessons about business, about ethics, about being a leader, about, you know, service back to the community and such things.
Okay.
Yes. If I can add on, you asked her what is Aiesec doing now, because we have a leadership vacuum now. So I'll give you some of the names of our Aiesec alumni in Kenya right now, if that's okay. So for example, CEO of KQ is an Aiesec. Director of HR for KQ is an Aiesec. CEO of KCB is an Aiesec. CEO of Housing Finance is an Aiesec.
So you've got quite a number of mentors who you can lean on to.
So many. Vivo Energy CEO, Julius Kipngetich is an Aiesec. So yes, we have a lot of mentors.
You have leadership right there.
Yes.
All right, now Aiesec is mainly targeted at the youth. Is it specifically for university students? Because I've heard you mention that it's for university students. Is it just for university students or youth in general?
Well, the starting point for an Aiesec is, of course, university. This is the point where you get to make those very critical decisions about where you want to go in life. So you start off at the university level, and a lot of people tend to join when they're perhaps 18, 19, depending on at what point you join. And then it goes all the way to people who have graduated, perhaps 2-3 years after graduating, because there are certain levels of Aiesec, for example, the national team or the international team, where you work full-time for the organization. So it's targeted at the youth because, well, at Aiesec we believe that the youth are not the leaders of tomorrow. We are, in fact, the leaders of today, and we need to engage these leaders now for a better today, a better tomorrow. So like I said, starting point is university all the way to, like you said, 2-3 years after campus. So you find up to 27, 28-year-olds are still very much involved in the organization before they go out into the real world.
Okay, how does one join?
Okay, so we have 12 active local chapters in Kenya right now. Local chapters are the universities that Aiesec is in. So you can go to any of the local chapters, or first you can like the Aiesec Kenya page. So we can start with the Afros page. So you can like Afros on Facebook, yes, Afros 2015, or on Twitter, and the Aiesec Kenya page is Aiesec Kenya on Facebook and Aiesec Kenya on Twitter. We also have a website for Afros, that's www.afroxlds2015.weebly.com.
That is one long.
I know. So let's stick with Facebook and Twitter for now.
I think that'll be
and
easier.
Just go to a local chapter. So any university next to you and ask if they have an Aiesec entity. Most probably they do. and ask to join Aiesec, then you will go through an interview process to see if you're liable to join Aiesec.
Alex, given that it's mainly targeted at university, what about those who don't make it to university? Can they join Aiesec? And do you find it would have been important now that you're an alumni and you're in the corporate world? How would you tap into that mass of youth that maybe didn't make it to university?
For Aiesec, the general target catchment area is universities and institutions of higher learning. But then I know even from the time I was in Aiesec, part of what we'll do as even part of the learning experience for the Aiesecers was we'll do community projects. So as members of Aiesec, you'll actually look out who are the youth within your community that need some support, the kind of support or the kind of experience Aiesec is bringing. So they might not necessarily become members of Aiesec, but then they'll actually be able to benefit from the Aiesec experience, because then we'll be able to reach out and have projects with them within the community. And that worked very well, because now that means that part of the Aiesec members continue learning, because you learn by doing. As you do the projects with the young people in the community, then you're able to benefit from what Aiesec is offering.
Okay, let's talk about the event very, very briefly. There's an event that you're planning. When is that, and what's that all about?
Now, the African Exchange and Leadership Development Seminar, which is AfroXLDS for 2015, is it's a congregation of the youth leaders of Aiesec in Africa. So they come together starting on the 30th of March to 5th of April. They come together into Kenya to discuss the way forward for the organization, and beyond that, to discuss the way forward for Africa as a continent. So we have leaders coming in discussing key issues, whether it's about the business sector, education, the arts, anything that is Africa-based, any problem that we're facing in Africa right now, we come together to discuss it and then find solutions. That's the thing. We don't just discuss problems, we find solutions, and they are practical solutions that we can go home and act upon them.
Okay. Yeah. Time is really not on our side. Quickly, Ruthie, where is the event going to be, and are there charges?
Okay, so the event is going to be at the Look Hotel. We shall have 3 special events. So on the 30th is the opening ceremony, and we shall have government representation, and it's open to the public. Then on the 2nd is the Youth to Business Forum. So we will have market leaders coming to talk about different issues in Africa. It's going to be on the 2nd. It's also going to be at the Look Hotel in Kasarani.
Okay.
Yes, and then we are going to have Kenya Night. So it's going to be sponsored by EABL. So what is going to happen is we are going to celebrate Kenyan with all the African delegates that we have, and that is open to the public.
Okay, is everything free of charge? Or
so for opening ceremony and Youth to Business is free. You just have to apply, again, like the Aiesec Kenya page, and then Kenya Night is 1,500 shillings.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Nyambura Wagema,
yes,
Alex Nyingi, and Ruthie Ndongo for joining us in the studio and enlightening us on that. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
All right. For you at home, well, we've got State of the Nation coming up very shortly with Sophia Wanuna, so we need to hear your feedback. We need to know what you feel about the state of the nation, and that's coming up right here, so don't you go away.